All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 10 step planning and goal setting blueprint for 2024. I'm so excited to do this live webinar session with my network, with my community. We're going to get into some deep content over the next hour. So, hopefully, you got your paper, your pen, even your water. I have some because I know I'm going to be talking a lot for the next 60 minutes or so. So, here we go. Now, right now, apologies for the background noise. There's a lot going on. We're doing like another live event simultaneously outside. So please feel free to give me comments, questions, feedback on the live chat feed. I would love to hear what you guys have to say, especially when we close, so I can make sure I can answer those questions for this session. So that's the housekeeping. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I announced on my newsletter earlier this year that I am showing up on point this year for my community. I know last year I went on a sabbatical, I went on maternity leave. So I'm back in full force in 2024. Of course, I'll have my mini sabbaticals here and there. But one thing that I said that I'm going to be doing this year is launching 50 plus webinars where 50 different topics I feel is pertinent and important to my community. So definitely check out my website at christineintim.com to sign up for a webinar near you, but also to be able to let me know topics that you want me to address, whether it's personal branding, productivity, entrepreneurship, ecosystem building, whatever it is, let me know. And if I get enough requests for it, then I'll be doing a session. So today, we're going to do some annual planning. So I'm really happy to have all of you on the session with me today. So first and foremost, welcome to a new year, new you. I know you have a lot of resolutions, a lot of goals planned for the year. So I want to make sure you show up correct in this year. So as you are aware, every year millions of people around the world initiate new year's resolutions. They want to hope to gain new possibilities, new doors, open new chapters in their life. And what is really sad is that everyone starts in the right way, but a lot of times, as the year kind of move forward, you find that a lot of people struggle to achieve their goals due to poor planning, ineffective tracking, and old default habits start to creep in. So it's time to do things differently, and I'm helping you to do that. So just to make sure I'm talking to the right group of people on this session live. If you are an entrepreneur, an influencer, digital creator, small business owner, corporate professional, whatever your industry, whatever your background, this conversation is definitely for you because everyone needs to have a real blueprint when it comes to planning out the year. Three trends that I know that is impacting people as you look into this year, as you move forward for 2024 and try to plan ahead and see, okay, where do you want to go and how do you make sure you set yourself up for success? You got to look at what's happening around you because the world is changing. We're accelerating at a rapid rate. And there are three trends I want to make sure to put on notice to make sure that you are looking effectively at the world around you as you plan your year ahead, if not your decade ahead when it comes to planning and stuff. So let's start with the fact that so many headlines right now are so negative. The economy is literally not good. Inflation is through the roof. Careers right now, people's transitions, layoffs. I mean, there's so many things happening. Businesses are struggling. If you really turn on the news or just look at social media, it is very evident, no matter what part of the world you are from, that the world is going through something right now, right? And so there's a lot going on, economically speaking, societally wise. I mean, there's just so many different negative changes happening. So that's one. Second, we are all aware, especially since the 2020 pandemic, that we just became a virtual society, a virtual world almost overnight. And this digital reality that we've created for ourselves as a society, as a people, is here to stay. It's not going back to pre-2019. So you have to accept it, you have to deal with it, and you have to move forward with it. But how do you do that, right? As you see, more and more people are leveraging tools like ChatGPT, AI tools, and you're finding that those who know how to leverage technology, whether they have the expertise or knowledge or whatever background, it becomes privileged. Digital technology is now a privilege, ladies and gentlemen. So how you leverage it is really going to make or break any of your career plans, any of your life plans going forward. So technology is instrumental to your future plans. And last but not least, you as an individual now have to figure out how to create not only a digital reality, a digital persona, but also manifest those digital plans and digital activations in person in your own reality, right? And so we are now working from home. We're, learning from home. We're engaging from home. I mean, I'm here talking to many of you around the world virtually to really help you through this year in terms of planning for the best. And so this virtual engagement and experience that we're having is so instrumental. So how you're able to capitalize on being positioned for that is so, so instrumental. So with that said, as we kick off, one of my favorite quotes that I would like to share with you to make sure we're in the right framework is that planning without action is futile, but action without planning is fatal. So wherever you're coming in from, why you signed up to be a part of this session, for any reason whatsoever, it's important that you take hold of planning as if it's so instrumental to your day-to-day. Because right now, again, when you look at what's happening around the world, it's so imperative that you are thinking about best case scenario, mid case scenario, worst case scenario. So you're not caught off guard with another headline, with another announcement, with another issue or fire that you have to put out. This could be a year to thrive. This could be a year to really accelerate your career goals to the next level, but it requires planning, and it requires planning with action, right? And so I pray that you are, diving in head first with that in mind, because the world's going to keep on spinning. Whether you are prepared for it or not, the world's still going round and round, right? So you got to be able to, grab life by the horns and really just get on it, be forward thinking, be proactive, and just do it, right? And so in the end, I'm going to share with you one core solution I hope to help share with you to help you achieve life goals, not only into this year, but into the next couple of years, but also to be able to share with you exactly how to implement some of these strategies that I'm going to share with you over the next 60 minutes. So without further ado, let's have this conversation. And I'll start by saying planning is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Having a good plan is just a start. How you manifest those plans into reality takes execution strategy, takes a lot of thoughts, takes a community, a network to tap into. If you don't have all the right resources available at your disposal, the point is that you need to be able to think beyond the plan into action steps, right? And so without further ado, I do want to first kick off by reintroducing myself. My name is Christine Intim. If this is your first time engaging with me, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And if you Google my name and just look on the internet, because obviously we live in a digital first world, you'll find lots of articles about the work I do as a serial entrepreneur. But I like to say that, my digital incident life is really, really crazy in the sense that, how it manifests itself in real life is that I am a mother of 4 beautiful kids. I'm a wife, so I'm very family centric. I used to be in the banking industry before I got into tech entrepreneurship and quit my job to launch my first company. And I've been entrepreneurial and crazy ever since. So I've launched 5 revenue generating companies since then. I've been featured in over 97 different media outlets and blogs to date. And I have been speaking at conferences for over latter half of 10 plus years now. I've spoken at over 360 conferences to date, still speaking at conferences. I'm a founder of, if you are aware, Global Startup Ecosystem, which is a platform that really helps accelerate entrepreneurs and prepare them for the digital age. My first company, Vendetti, which is a travel platform connecting travelers to street markets. I'm really passionate about women empowerment, making sure not only our girls are ready for tomorrow, but women who are high achieving, doing dynamic things every day are bringing other ladies up front and center for the next chapter of their lives. So I've done that through the Her Future Project, where I host an annual summit for women from around the world. Also the founder of Afrofuture Summit and Haiti Tech Summit, because I'm Haitian American, of course, a proud Black, African American, Haitian, and also Ghanaian sister from my mother. So I'm really, really proud of my background and the work that I've done around the world. And again, been able to work with governments, Fortune 500 companies, been featured in Forbes, been on the list of Forbes, and been really recognized for the work that I do. So I'm really passionate about this because in order to achieve many of the things I've done over the past 15, 20 years, I had to be very proactive about my plan. I had to be very proactive about really putting my goals in a way that's digestible, proactive and the like. So really happy to meet you all for the first time and engage with you. So with that said, my experiences are very global in nature. People always think that I'm on a plane, which I am in many ways. I'm very international. Like in one moment I'm here, in a country in Africa, another moment I'm in the Caribbean, then I'm in Dubai, and then I'm back in the States where I'm based. So there's a lot of activations that I'm doing around the world because of the work that I do, right? And my reality of having this international experience takes me on global stages on a regular basis, but also I've been able to not only take those global stages to be able to share thought leadership and insights and strategies, but I'm also able to engage with people literally virtually from my office, right? From my home, and directly through webinars like this one, where I'm able to reach so many people that I'm not able to reach in certain markets around the world. And so I tend to say, like, look, how I plan to engage people is really understanding that failing to plan is planning to fail. You got to always put your plans first and really be dedicated to making your goals and your aspirations happen. And so I hope that you're coming with the right energy, the right excitement. I know, again, so much is happening around the world, but you got to be positive thinking. You got to believe and have faith, not only in yourself, but that the world will align and really create a blueprint for you to succeed if you have faith and really put the positive energy and thinking into the work that you do. So I want to make sure that we're kicking off with the right energy, the right mental space. And let's do this, because I'm so excited to take you into my world of planning, because I am crazy. I got workbooks, I got spreadsheets, I got Google calendars, but I won't take you in that deep. But I want to share with you those 10 high level steps that I do every single year, especially within the past couple of years, ever since becoming a mother and a wife and balancing family, business, and just life in general. I want to take you down that road and want to make sure that you leave ready, excited, and just ready to just drop some mics this year. So let's do this. I'm too excited right now. The 10-step planning and goal setting blueprint. In this session, again, I'm going to go beyond the typical annual planning workshops that you probably have heard of before and cover elements of project management, productivity, goal setting in a way that hopefully gets you excited to bring out your best self this year. So let's do this. First things first, before I even kick off with this 10 list blueprint, you got to know what phase you're in when it comes to planning and getting yourself started for the year. And the first phase that I always go through, which helps me kind of refocus my center, really think back and get myself in the right mind frame and mindset before looking into the future, is a review and reflection phase. We all need it because we are human beings. We have stories, we have memories, we have experiences that make us who we are. You as a spirit, as a vessel, you are carrying millions of different experiences in your life. So if you don't take hold of reflecting on those, taking a step back from your busy schedule to even relish in the happy memories, learn from the poor ones, and just really find a good connective thread between the two, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So starting first and foremost, reflection, reflection, reflection. So step number one is you got to conduct a year in review. If you haven't done it yet, go back to the drawing board and do this and review and reflect on all the activations, all the things that you've done this year. And you'll be surprised. There's so much that happens in someone's life. I mean, you might think that you have a mundane, normal 9 to 5 or a normal day-to-day lifestyle, but you'll be surprised all the little things that compounded to make your world what it was last year, right? And so one activity that I tend to do is I try to write 10 to 20 things that I remember that I did for the year that stood out to me, that was exciting. And keep in mind, this is personal. It doesn't have to be something that I need to put on LinkedIn or on the internet to make it look good. Like, I got this award, I did this talk. No, it's just literally 10 to 20 things that just made you happy or made you sad, or that was significant enough that it had to be jotted down, right? And once you do that 10 to 20 things, write down, circle the 3 things that you were most proud of, that made you happy. That I'm like, look, I did this last year, right? And I'm proud of this, right? It matters to me. And what are 3 things you wish you did? So if there's something that wasn't on the list that you didn't get to accomplish, write it down. And then look at your calendars, look at your photos, go down memory lane, take at least a half hour to do this, and look at what was your day-to-day? How did you organize yourself? Because it might tell you what went wrong and you're not accomplishing those 3 things that you wish you did, but also see what made you be able to have those 10 to 20 experiences that you wrote down, right? And so conduct that year in review, really reflect on where you've come from, how far you've gotten, and then really have a moment to yourself to reflect and reminisce. I go through videos, photos. I have an iPhone, obviously, like everybody else, and one thing that I love about it is that it's able to do like kind of mini movies, kind of like, connect all your photos and videos together. And I love just going through those. Sometimes I go through, like, I literally get lost. I mean, I'm telling you to do this in 30 minutes. It might take hours just because you just get absorbed and consumed with just literally reviewing and re-experiencing memories. And obviously we live in a world where everyone's always taking a photo, a video of their experiences. So go through that experience, relish in your past life, and then, reflect on what you learned from it. And then the second thing you should do, once you do that for the past year, extend that and reflect on the entire decade, right? Because a lot of times people tend to get stuck on just like year to year to year and don't look at, okay, are you having some type of like connection between your former years? Are you actually progressing to something bigger than yourself, bigger than life? If you're only planning for the year, you're only planning for short-term gains. How are we going to create long-term gains? That requires long-term reflection so you can forecast long-term as well, right? And so look back on the past 10 years of life. What patterns do you see? I have a really great TED Talk video on this. You could Google my name. I'll send the link out on this thread. If you want to DM me, comment on the thread, TEDx video. It's a quick 10-minute video of recording of my TED Talk where I talk about pattern of small moves, where I share with people how to audit their life and really find patterns in their life to find their hidden passions and hidden opportunities in their work that they've done over the course of their life. So click on, comment on this thread if you want access to that video, and I'll put it in the comment thread. Okay. So again, have a period of reflection, look back 10 years. It will help you see, are you connecting the dots, or are you just sporadically just living a to-do list every single year? You want to go beyond that and reflect on what you've done. Then you could get to the point that once you reflected over the past year and then you kind of took a trip down memory lane and went back 10 years, and for whoever's on the call, whether you're a college student looking back into your high school, middle school years, whether you're a corporate professional who are looking at the past few jobs that you've done, or a mature individual who's looking at your whole life story, once you look back, now let's look forward. Okay, what are you proud of? What are you excited about? What did you do in the past that made you proud that enough to like, okay, this is the blueprint I want to create for my future, and forecast a decade into the future, right? You guys thought you were coming on this call, just think about 2024. I'm talking about 10 years from now. Who are you going to be in 2034? Right? Who are you going to be in that year? Like, are you going to be the same person? What's your physique going to look like? What's your mental space? What businesses are you going to launch? What family are you going to create? What friendships are you going to start? Like, visualize that and write that down. And it helps because when we get into the goal setting part of this conversation, it helps you create the appropriate goals for the year. Because one of the biggest things that hurt people when it comes to planning is sometimes we overreach the goal. And the worst thing you could do is be disappointed and not meet a goal because you didn't appropriately look at your circumstances, but also your mental capacity to stretch yourself beyond your limits, right? And one of my favorite quotes I love is that most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. You're going to be blessed to have a fulfilled life. Believe that right now. Know that faith will guide you down the right path. You're going to have a fulfilled life. You're going to have a blessed life. You're going to have a graced life. The 10 years are coming. How are you going to manifest your dreams in that 10 years? It's truly up to you. So you got to really believe that, okay, what am I going to do in the next 5 to 10 years? What am I going to look like? Because a lot of times we're so in a hurry to accomplish 100 years of achievements in 1 year that we don't stretch it out in a way that we become more another level of ourselves by waiting to like stretch out those goals better. So make sure that you're thinking through forecasting into another decade. It's a really beautiful thing. I've visualized where I'm going to be in 2034. I've visualized where I'm going to be at 2050. I've visualized when my kids are all 18 and older. Like, what does that look like, right? Visualize that, write it down, draw a picture. You'd be surprised. Like, you might even get emotional writing what you look like in a decade from now. So do it. Really great activity. Once you're done with this phase, now we can get into the planning and preparation phase where we're now going to walk through, right, this discussion about how to prepare, right? So let's walk you through, and hopefully you're ready for this next place. All right. So first and foremost, I think this is a step that a lot of people just like skip over because they get right into vision boards, photo collages, and don't really think about, the tools that you're going to use to plan and the tools that you're going to use to execute for the year. So the fourth step is to compile your planning tools, both the physical and digital. Now, I say physical because I think a lot of people always focus on the digital tools, but there's something about using your hands, right? I'm actually really big on having a black journal for planning books and workshops. I love writing things down. It just, not only does it become institutional memory for me when I write things down, but emotionally it gets me really focused and engaged for what's next, right? So definitely want to make sure to share that, write down all the physical tools that you're going to use, worksheets, journals, maybe a desk planner, calendar that you put on your work desk. Make sure to think about those tools and make sure that they're readily available, right? The next thing is digital. What software are you going to use? Are you going to use a project management software? Are you going to use your calendar? Are you going to use, reminders? Whatever you're going to use, make sure you get them ready so that way you could be able to leverage them effectively. So like I said, I love having a good, simple black book. It's my journal. I have my random thoughts. I literally have a library of all my annual endeavors, thoughts, and manifestations in these black books. And these black books are so important to me because sometimes I could go back to, like, let's say 2021, 2019, and like, oh, this is what I was thinking about. This is what I was working on. Like, it's really, really good to have that. A lot of times when, let's say I'm, someplace, maybe I'm waiting on something, I just pull out that black book to read my previous plans, but also to jot things down, doodle, think, reflect. So compile your tools is really, really good. Then step 5, customize your worksheets and trackers. I use trackers all day long. One of my favorite trackers that I do is that, I make sure that I have something positioned for the milestones of time that exist for me to be productive. Let me repeat that again. I create worksheets and trackers for the milestones of time that we've created to be productive. So for example, I know I need to have daily activations. I know I need to have weekly check-ins. I need to be tracking my milestones monthly, so 12 times a year. I need to make sure that I'm achieving my goals on a quarterly basis. So I review any goals achieved. And then I need to have a way to celebrate the year, right? An annual culmination celebration. So what you do every day becomes your habits. Your habits done on a weekly basis, when you check in, are you executing and working towards your goal? Your milestones should be monthly to make sure you're achieving quarterly goals, because the rule of thumb is that you need to have 3 to 4 high-level goals that you want to achieve in a year, okay? And after that year, you need to be able to celebrate and reflect on what made you accomplish those goals, okay? So I have trackers for each stage of those milestones to make sure that I am consistently moving forward in a productive way, right? So these are some of the worksheets that I've customized and I've created for myself. If you want access to the personal brand journal, definitely DM me or just comment on this thread. But, in my, worksheets, month to month, for example, I have my wealth goals, my health goals, my personal brand goals. I track my health, make sure that I'm on it with my my meal plan and what I'm working, because I cook every day. I love to cook, by the way. And so I'm constantly testing out new salads, smoothies, Caribbean dishes, because I'm Haitian and I'm Ghanaian. And, I have so many different dishes I do on a regular basis. And of course, my wealth planner, how am I tracking money coming in and money coming out? And I prioritize how I keep and grow my money and not just how much money just comes in, right? And so customizing your worksheets are really, really good because it helps fit your day-to-day lifestyle to make sure that you're doing it in a way that's productive for you, right? Once I have all these sheets in place, then I move on and I try to leverage best practices, right? And when you're looking at, the goals that you try and achieve, again, the rule of thumb is that you have to have 3 to 4 major goals per year, right? So one thing that we always tell people, when you have these goals, you need to really think about how specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound those goals are. You don't want to just put like, I want to be able to, be rich next year, right? You got to be specific. What's the amount? How do you measure it? How do you achieve it? How do you break it down? If you want to be able to generate $1 million, how many sales do you need to have? Is it 10 six-figure contracts at 100K? Is it that, you're able to, partner and be able to get a monthly subscription with 1,000 different people, right, at a certain price point? When do you want to achieve those goals, and how? And how relevant is it to your resources, your network, your community, your expertise to achieve that goal of achieving $1 million in a year, right? That's just a quick breakdown of having a smart, measurable goal that you could literally track and see if you're moving forward properly when it comes to your brand, right? And so leveraging these best practices, I too leverage, using vision boards, using charts, and I've been using vision boards for several years now. I think a lot of people mainstream know about vision boards, but for me personally, I really do try to go beyond leveraging these best practices to actually do a very new balance approach to trying to track the goals and areas of fulfillment that matter to me. Now, this is something that I've created over the years because I don't know, once you get married and have kids and you build a family, at least for me personally, I feel like my goals kind of shifted, my priorities kind of shifted, and how I plan for the year shifted, because I've had so many different experiences in my life, from, the death of a parent to birth of kids to marriage to launching a business, scaling a business, failing at initiatives. There's so many things that I've had highs and lows around. And one of the key things that I learned about years prior that really helped, ground me in my approach when it comes to planning is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Where, a lot of times, society has forced us to prioritize self-actualizations where you're achieving one's full potential, including creative activities, right? But there's a lot of basic psychological needs that right now, if you look at the economy, people are struggling with, which is why you're seeing like mental health is at an all-time issue high right now, but also why you're seeing people are really trying to navigate this world a little bit differently. At the very core of it, our foundation, we need to make sure our psychological and safety needs are met, right? If you could find love both in the family that you're born into and the family you create, the family and friendships you create, it really takes you to another level of existing. Those three things are so important. And esteem, respect. Do people recognize you not only for your work but for you as a person? Do you feel that when you walk out the door, that when people see you, they embrace you with love, energy, and just positivity, right? Or when you go out into the world, people are just very aggressive and combative. Like, how are you interacting with society shapes your esteem, and to ultimately reach that self-actualization is pretty much fulfillment, right? And so when I created my new planner tool, I created something called the 10 growth areas of fulfillment, where I focus on achieving goals in 7 core areas, and then also trying to stretch myself a little bit to live life to the fullest in 3 growth areas. And I'm going to share with you that method today so you can understand literally how I plan this day. And you probably never heard of this before because this is personal to me. I'm going to share that with you. Okay. So here it is. Here's my chart. So the 7 core areas that I plan ahead on and making sure that I'm achieving annual lifestyle goals around is obviously I prioritize family, relationships, health and wellness, wealth and finance, career goals, passion goals, and time management, productivity. Okay. Those are 7 core areas that I make sure that I am time bound on and focused on. And so what does that look like? In this chart, this is how I tackle these 7 areas. So I have a priority system because the reality is not everything could be a priority. Something has to be a priority. So for example, last year, because, I went on maternity leave, family was number 1 because I had to, breastfeed, prioritize the baby, make sure that he's okay, and make sure that my other children are still getting all the needs that they need for the year, right? And just beyond. They're growing, they're becoming, young children, forming their identities. I need to be present. So family was a priority. So as a result, to be honest with you, a lot of other business activities had to suffer because I was prioritizing my family. The next one is relationships. I'm married. Just because I'm not in the dating scene doesn't mean that I am not dating my husband on a regular basis, right? We are still growing in our marriage, still growing to get to know each other on an annual basis. And so what, relationship goals that I have is that next priority, right? And so I always look at, health and wellness. Last year, I was so adamant about having a basic daily lifestyle that helps me to be strong, committed. I'm just organic, started a farm, guys. Literally I went through a lot when it comes to my health and wellness, getting massages, having, committed schedule activations when it comes to my health and my happiness, right? And so these core areas, I look at the priority system, like, how do I rank it from 1 to 10? And then I also write down, what does this area of focus mean to me? And because that changes year to year. So for example, the first year when I started having kids, maybe my priority is like learning how to give birth, right? So I define the focus of that. But now it's really how to heal my body and I get back to my form, right? So defining what that looks like, because sometimes our definition of that goal changes because of the milestones we experience in our lives. So you got to make sure you understand that and you're forward thinking about that and define it for you for that year. Then what is the one goal you seek to accomplish here for the year? And then you are going to articulate how you measure success. So if I say that my goal, for example, is to be able to generate $1 million in just my personal brand this year, right? Then I will, prioritize that. Maybe I rank that at number 4 for the year. Okay, so it's in the top 5. So it's very, very important, right? And then how do I define that focus? What does that area of focus mean to me? That means when it comes to my wealth is that I'm able to, create revenue streams. And I'm like, when I have a time frame, I'm prioritize that in the time that I'm doing activations for the year, right? And then how do I measure success? Well, how many clients am I booking? How many achievements, speaking engagements that I'm getting in recognition for that work, right? I articulate how I measure success, because what happens is if you don't articulate first off what the goal is and how you define that and how you want to measure success, you're going to keep moving the goalposts and feel like you're failing where you're not. Right. So you got to set it in stone. You got to mark it in the stands that, okay, this is what success looks like, and make sure you articulate that. So that when you hit that goal, now you're going beyond, and now you're even more excited because you hit the goal and trying to get to the next stage of that goal. Does that make sense? So really important that you define that. So that's my 7 core areas that I stay true to no matter what. Then I have my 3 growth areas. And these are areas where, again, it helps me feel fulfilled. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel that I'm not just living to work, that I'm living to thrive, right? I'm living to go beyond like just having a set of regrets at the end of like 50, 70 years, right? And so these are my fun areas and growth areas where I stretch myself a little bit. And one of my first things that I have is my dream parking lot. I have a million ideas, and not just business ideas, just things that I want to do. Like I want to build like a log cabin from scratch with my own bare hands, right? Just random dream parking lots. I've skydived before, but I want to skydive over the water next time, right? So it's postponed endeavors that I want to do and manifest because they're important. They're legacy driven in many ways, and I document that. So that parking lot, I always revisit and say, okay, this year, what am I pulling from the parking lot that I want to work on this year? So stay tuned. I got some really unique announcements that's going to go live this year that you're going to be really excited about. So that dream parking lot is very, very important to me. And then you have my bucket list, which is 100 things you want to do before you're gone, right? It's just random things like jumping out the plane, going skydiving, being able to run a marathon, being able to just do just random things that just makes you happy. Again, this is personal to you. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody, just for you and your eyes only, right? And then the last one is opportunity and experiment. So I'm always experimenting. I actually spend, again, I got trackers and spreadsheets. I actually spend 5 to 10% of my time in a year just dedicated to experimentation, right? So last year, one of my big experiments was really trying to launch a farm and really trying to work on snail farming, chicken farming, growing produce, just everything from scratch, right? And so everything that you do in this area is really just around growth and just learning and taking it where it goes. So these are 3 growth areas I love to explore every year, and gives me something that is honestly that doesn't have any judgment associated with it, because it's just for me, right? Because if you look at the 7 core areas, there's other people who have inputs in that, right? Your family, your relationships, your career, right? How people, evaluate your career moves. But these 3 growth areas are very personal. They're with me, myself, and my God. And so very crucial that you try to accomplish a really new and balanced approach to your planning. And hopefully you found this structure useful to your planning for this year. And so the next step is once you created and documented your planning strategy, Then you got to designate your accountability and support staff. So it starts with you. So I always have self accountability first before I start blaming anything, right? Because you got to always start with yourself first, because the only person you can blame if something's not achieved is yourself. You can't blame others. You can't blame society. You can't blame the world. You can't blame that little ant that just crossed the world. Like, you just can't do that. You got to have self accountability. And it's a testament to your character when you're able to do that. When you just look at yourself and say, like, look, I could do this, and this is what I'm going to do, and the action steps. So yourself is the first thing. Then you might have a trusted friend, a partner. My husband is actually a great accountability support system. Like, hey, you said you were going to do this. I don't see you doing it. Let's get back on that. Let's get back to focus, right? And that person is not only driving you to stay focused, but they're also, like, cheering you on. You did good today. I'm proud of you. Or telling you, like, look, that wasn't too good, right? Or, you know what, you're doing really well, but I think you should explore this area. They're able to just get you support in a way that just makes you want to just thrive in the work that you're doing, right? Of course, you can also tap into a trusted group of community. I have a personal brand circle where every month I connect with dynamic individuals from around the world, especially women of power and influence, who are trying to take their personal brands on the next level. So I just literally not only mentor about personal branding every single month, but I also mentor about what businesses have you launched? How's your career growing? What's happening in the workplace? Because I'm trying to make sure that I'm showing up for my community every single month in that way, and consistently throughout the year. And so what communities are you tapping into to manifest your goals, right? And then, of course, report to these networks on a regular basis, so that way they're holding you accountable even when sometimes you're falling short, right? So it's a great way to have that support in a way that really helps you accomplish what you need to accomplish on a regular basis, okay? So now that we've gotten to we got past, review and reflection, right? We took down, stepped down memory lane to think about what we've done over the past year, over the past decade. And then we got into planning and preparation, where we talked about the worksheets, the blueprint that I personally use, that I've crafted and customized for myself. That's been very, very helpful over the past couple of years. Now we got to get things done. It's called execution and empowerment phase, where you're now going to start tackling these goals. And keep in mind, you're also going to be experimenting during this phase as well. So one thing I will say, step number 9, and I think a lot of people don't say this, but you got to embrace trial and error. Anytime you're trying to set new goals in your life, anytime you're trying to get yourself from level A to Z, when you're trying to take yourself to the next level, you got to accept that there's going to be a period of time where you got to try, fail, get back up, and get back up again, right? Which means you got to accept that there's going to be a trial and error phase. You cannot try something that's going to improve your life, take you to a place that you've never been before, and fail and think that that was it, right? You got to just experiment with yourself and try, right? And so one thing that I highly recommend, I'll share the link on the thread if you want access to be able to purchase these really great books. Understand your habit forming practices, and understand that it's going to be very difficult for you to create the daily habits that you need to get yourself to a new level of existing. But it's okay for you to keep going, keep doing it, and keep doing it. So 2 books I highly recommend is James Clear's Atomic Habits. Again, I'll drop the link on the thread. And then Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity by David Allen. Because in the world that we're living, where we're constantly just overstimulated with so many things on the internet, I like the pretty much the approach of this book, where it's just helping you be able to do things in a way that just is not overwhelming, right? And so these are 2 really great books to look into. And one thing that I've done over the past couple of years that's been very helpful for me is I try challenges. So I'll do a trial, right? I'll do a challenge. I have a screenshot of one of my worksheets I have is just a personal brand challenge in the month of January, where I have a different challenge every single month that's helping me drive results. And sometimes after a quarter of like trying these, trial and errors, challenges, or trying to get through trying these things out, you got to review and repeat. So if things are going well, just keep at it, double down on what works, right? But if it's not working, then you got to revise, you got to reset, and you got to relaunch. Hello, I fell down, but I'm back up. I'm at it again. You got to have that energy and that vibe, like, like a bouncing ball. You got to get it up, right? So it's really, really crucial that you're able to really think about, okay, I tried this worked, this didn't work, and really track your progress on certain things that you're trying to initiate, right? And so really, really important that you embrace the trial and error period of trying new things this year. And then last but not least, empower yourself with both a micro and macro roadmap. So one thing that I always tell people is, as you plan, and this is probably very, very important because it's something that we don't plan for, but we need to be conscious of, that you are looking at the macro things happening around you within your neighborhood, within your city, within your country, within the world, right? You got to find the delicate balance between managing your internal goals as pertaining to you and your career and your community, and making sure that you're looking at what's happening around you in the world and how that will affect not only the success rate of your internal goals, but also affect the pace at which you go, the way you go about it, privately or publicly. You need to create a roadmap that works for you, right? And so with that said, hopefully you found this very useful, right? I want to just, recap that, the 10-step planning and goal setting blueprint. It's really just really breaking down how to, first and foremost, conduct a year in review, initiate a decade of reflection, audit the past 10 years. Where have you been? Forecast into the future. Visualize who you're going to become in the next 10 years and leverage that to really go into this year, like trying to accomplish the goals you need to get to that point. Then you got to really get the resources ready to go, compile your planning tools, customize your worksheets and your trackers and your documents, leverage best practices like vision boards, right? Leverage those practices to get the word out there about what you want to do, but also try new balanced practices like the one I shared with you, where you're covering 10 core areas of fulfillment in your life and growth areas, right? Designate your accountability support staff, and of course, empower yourself to not forget about the macro reality that's happening around you, so that way you're planning in a way that makes sense. So if you enjoyed the session, okay, log off, goodbye. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Hopefully this was useful and beneficial to you. But if you want to take it to the next level, right, I want to share with you, because first off, let me preface this with the fact that I know everybody on the internet is selling something. Yeah, I'm about to sell you something too. But how I want to preface this is that I want to make sure that you understand that what I'm about to share with you is also my time, my energy, and what I've done over the past decade to make a lot of my plans real, right? And so many of you is like, okay, you're going to be able to leverage this, get things done. Definitely comment on the thread feed if you want access to some of the recordings and documentation that I've used to be able to execute on these works. But I want to be able to share with you something that I've noticed over the past couple of years that really, for me, has really grounded me in my approach in my planet, and really got me to think about, look, like, things are changing really fast, right? And you need to prepare yourself in a way that not only makes you proactive, but also makes you think clearly about how to actually get things done in a way that is not hard, right? You got to work smarter now, not harder, because the world that we're living in, those who are really making it happen for themselves, they're not usually the ones with, the best number of resources or the right clout, the right networks. They're the ones who are just like really strategic in their thinking and very, 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 very targeted in their execution. So let me share with you a way that you could do this, right? Because navigating to what's happening right now in the world is very, very important. And I want to help you go from planning to getting things done. And I'm going to show you how I've done that. And I'll start by saying, before I even get into discussing something that I want to share with you, like how you can engage with me on a regular basis and how I think what I'm about to share with you will be very beneficial to you, I need to make sure that you guys even know why you're even planning this far. Why are you trying to get certain things done in your life? Because a lot of times what I've found is that a lot of people are doing things for the sake of just going down a to-do list. But when things get tough. Remember, originally we talked about the fact that a lot of people have big plans at the beginning of the year, but a lot of them fail by literally within the first month, they fail at trying to accomplish these goals, simply because aside from the fact they're not planning effectively, they don't know why they want to do it. Right? What's driving you? What's pushing you? What is motivating you to doing what you're doing every day? And you got to figure that out, right? You got to have a reason for existing. You got to have a reason for pushing. You got to have a reason that just like, yo, when things get tough, you're going back to the drawing board if that's what's required, right? If something requires you to stay up tonight, that you're going to do it because you have a why. And we all have a why. And this why has to be the driving force to get you moving forward. And so if I ask you, why do you exist? What passion, what purpose are you trying to accomplish this year? Some of you can't even answer that question. If I tell you, okay, what's the metrics you're trying to accomplish in the next 6 months, you probably could give me an answer. But if I ask you, why do you want to do this? Why does this matter to you? You can't answer me. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm getting worked up thinking about this because I realize that reason why people are so overwhelmed is because you're just doing a bunch of activities and you don't know what you're doing it for. But when you have a why, when you have a core reason that's driving you, then the mundane things that is required to accomplish big things is no longer mediocre. It's no longer mundane. It's no longer unnecessary. If it requires you to sit put for 7 hours, you will sit put for 8 because now you realize why it matters to you. So I preface this by saying that, look, I can share with you these strategies like I did on this call. But if you are not literally figuring out your core reasons for doing the things that you do, you are setting yourself a huge disservice by walking into this world and just doing daily activities with no motivation, no North Star for yourself. So I start, and I end with this. Make sure you figure out your why so that way you are moving forward in a way that's productive, exciting, proactive, and just in a way that people will notice when you walk through doors. You're going to have an energy about you that, look, I'm not just here to do business. I'm here to just thrive. I'm here to literally move myself to the next level. And I'm doing it with happiness, engagement, and love in my heart, right? Figure out your why. Do that before you go through these spreadsheets. You'll thank me later. So figure out your why. And figuring out that why actually starts with defining who you want to become tomorrow. I am a big proponent of visualizing who you are and visualizing where you want to be, because visualization is such a powerful way of helping you see the blueprint and the roadmap that you need to create to get to that end destination, right? And you looking about what you want to do tomorrow starts with the work that you do today, right? And I tend to feel like the core secret of planning success is having an end goal in mind. That's the reason why I say forecasting and visualizing where you want to be helps you get to that end goal, right? And again, like I said, it starts with defining who you want to become. And that requires a strong personal brand. Now, if you Google my name, you'll find all the different businesses that I've started, all the different initiatives that I've launched, all the different celebrities, government officials, influencers that I've worked with over the past 2 decades. And I will tell you that my personal brand today, as it stands, has given me immense opportunities because I was very serious from the beginning of creating a reputation that says, like, look, if you work with me, you're not always going to remember it because it's going to be a great addition to your endeavors, a great addition to your aspiration, a great addition to your company, to your business, to your plans. Like, engaging with me, you're going to get it done, right? And so I will start by saying that you need to make your personal brand your top priority in 2024, because the digital reputation that exists right now on the internet can literally make or break your career. Okay, so I'll start by saying, for those of you in the room, and remember at the beginning of the session, I asked who's on the call. We got entrepreneurs? Do we have, corporate professionals, creatives? I'll start with my corporate professional baddies on the call. Okay, hear this. About 1 in 5 employees says in a Harris Poll service said that they won't call a person for an interview if they can't find them online. I start with this because I think we all know that your social media presence is very important for career opportunities. But what people don't realize, you can't opt out either. Because some people are like, I just want to have a profile. You can't do that because it just comes off sketchy. You have to have a digital space. You have to have a digital avatar. You have to show up online, right? So you trying to opt out, not an option. Another thing I want you to hear. According to a survey by Career Builder, a full 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates before hiring. And 54% of employers said that they choose not to hire a candidate based on content they found on their social media profiles. You might want to have an open debate that this is not fair. I don't understand. People should mind their business. You can say whatever you want, but the reality is, when it comes to career opportunities, people are looking at your social media profiles or lack thereof. So you got to be on point. And it doesn't stop after hiring either. You want a promotion this year? You want to, be able to get to the next level at the company you're working at? Here it is. 51% of employers monitor their current employees' social media posts to ensure that they are not disclosing information, harassing fellow employees, or otherwise just breaking the law. So even so, once you got the job and you're trying to get yourself to get a promotion or get another opportunity within the company, maybe you want to relocate, right? Maybe you want to start something new. They're looking at your social media profile. They're still scanning on a regular basis to make sure that you're still on point from when we hired you, right? We've seen so many different clips on social media of people losing their jobs just based on that live video that they did or that social media post that they did that just wasn't according to company's policy. And the debate is out of whether that's right or wrong. But again, this is the current reality. Now, for those of you who are entrepreneurs and think that this is not relevant to you, it's for corporate professionals. This is the reason why I wanted to work for myself, so I don't have to answer to the big boss or the big man. It's actually more important for you as an entrepreneur, right? Because a lot of these corporates, they have to have a full-time staff scanning these profiles. But you as an entrepreneur, you show up first as a CEO and founder. You are the lead head. 74% of consumers rely on social media to guide purchasing decisions. So your clients, your community, your network, they look at not only the profile of your business, but also you. And according to a Webster found survey, 49% of executives believe a strong CEO personal brand is critical to the company's overall reputation. I mean, probably the best case study of this is look at Elon Musk. That's probably a case study for life. Anyone who wants to see how the personal brand of a CEO, how it impacts the market share price of a company, the credibility of a company, just look at his experience over the course of last year, right? That will tell you directly just how this can impact you as a CEO, as a founder, right? So I think by now, just with those couple of the stats, and these are stats that's coming out every day, you get it. You're on the call like, yeah, my personal brand is important. How do I capitalize on this? So what do I do, right? Well, the thing is, many of you are probably aware that the e-learning market is going to grow to $643 billion by 2025. That is actually, as of last year, it's actually growing as we speak. And so this is probably the biggest thing I want you to take away from this conversation that I'm having you right now, is that it's so crazy how the world has shifted, but people now trust individual brands over institutional brands. Let me run it back. People now trust individual brands over institutional brands. That means people want to engage with you directly. If you have an experience or expertise or knowledge, people want to hear from you. Because what's happening is that, unfortunately, corporate brands are now disconnected. They don't know what's really happening. You see so many corporates, if you look at, I could do an entire presentation on this about corporate backlash that's happened over the past couple of years, over the past couple of decades, where literally commercials that are causing a retaliation because corporate brands are disconnected. They don't know how to really resonate with the everyday consumer, the everyday individual, right? But you and your individual experiences is shaping the realities that people are facing. You are the one, your story, your journey makes more sense to people. People are able to connect with individuals better than institutions. So when you show up online, when you show up in person with expertise or strategy or insights, people show up, right? Because people feel like they can relate to your experience and can leverage your experience, right? So if anything, your story will give you access, influence, and opportunity. And how you leverage your story, how you manifest your reality and give that to the world so the world could be able to leverage and engage with you, is going to be really, really instrumental to your success. Right? And I'm saying this from experience because I've been recognized all over the world for my journey in entrepreneurship, building businesses, making an impact, and in the businesses that I've launched over the past couple of years. I've also monetized my learning and strategy because as I became more and more successful in the businesses that I created, I'm able to people are tapping into me like, hey, Christine, can I pick your brain? Can you speak at this conference? Can you speak to this group of professionals? Can you work with this institution? They're trying to tap my brain, my insight, my strategies, my unique learning points, and and information to be able to accelerate their goals, to accelerate their blueprints and their milestones, because I figured something out, right? And people want to tap into what I figured out, right? And so that has led to me being able to live the world unconditionally as myself and connect with people around the world in ways that I never thought I could, right? And that all came simply because I was able to have a strong personal brand, right? So I share this with you guys because many times, and I'll come offline a little bit just so I want to be able to see you guys in person, is that what I realize is that a personal brand, when it comes to you trying to really take your career to the next level, is really instrumental to how you're able to get not only career opportunities, introductions, multiple streams of income. I mean, there's so many different ways, right, for you to be able to engage with individuals just because you have a strong reputation, right? And so I preface that with saying that, look, I hope that as you plan, as you get ready for next year, that you are truly trying to make sure that you bring a strong reputation and that you really focus on planning for the best, planning for the long haul. Okay. And so with that said, I am currently obviously launching another edition of the Personal Brand Accelerator program where I share with people how I was able to do, or how I was able to build, scale, and monetize my personal brand. And I don't want to get with all talk about the worksheets, the live sessions, but the real thing that I want to share with you guys is really why I think this is a great way to start your year. Is because literally, as you plan ahead, as you try to get things done for your personal brand, a lot of you have goals, right? Maybe you want to be able to launch a business. Maybe you want to be able to switch careers. Maybe you want to relocate. Maybe you want to start a family. And a lot of these things require you having a strong ability to plan ahead and create a strong reputation, because a strong reputation is able to open doors, right? And so what I will share is that, look, join me over the next couple of weeks. I'm launching this second annual edition. I do this once a year, by the way, because obviously I have multiple businesses that I need to attend to. But once a year, I connect with people within my network to share with them not only how to build, monetize, and scale their personal brands, but also I get vulnerable and I share with them like, look, that speaking engagement came because of this introduction, or, this brand endorsement deal that I did with MasterCard happened because of this opportunity, or this business I was able to scale and get funding because of this talk that I did on this date. Like, I'm able to share and connect the dots from my personal experiences for you to be able to leverage and be able to accomplish your goals. And so with that said, I hope that you find this useful. DM me if you want to be able to join the session and be a part of that experience. And of course, at the end of the day, I hope that you were able to learn so much from this program, learn so much from this opportunity. I hope this Planning Success workshop was really beneficial to you. I know this is a blueprint that I've used for the past couple of years and been very, very beneficial to me. So I hope that you found it useful, valuable, and of course, go out there, manifest, get things done, and really come out on top, come out as your best self, and just really thrive this year. I can't wait to see and hear all the things that you guys are working on this year. Definitely DM me. Let me know how you were able to leverage the session to manifest your endeavors. And of course, all the best, good luck, and goodbye. Thank you so much.